So welcome to round 9 here at Kyalami in South Africa. We are on round 9 here in MSC. So we are on board with some of the drivers. Qualifying is already begun. In fact, we've only got 4 minutes of qualifying remaining, and the driver on the number 1 top spot is T. Vermaak. He's the one that leads at the moment in that Ford Mustang. He is the leader by quite a way off the other competitors at the moment in this incredible circuit as the night sets and dawn disappears here for the, well, it's getting to the end of the MSC season at the moment. So not bad at all. T. Vermaak does lead Bernie in P2. I need to bring up some details because it's been an absolute nightmare trying to set everything up. So let's get all of these on. I could have done with trying some overlays tonight, but I just couldn't get everything set up in time with everything else. So we are on board with Jay Barrett, and he is in at P15 at the moment. He is 2 tenths up on his lap time. Obviously 2.5 minutes to go. All the drivers will be putting in their favourites now, and they're absolute bankers. There'll be no messing around here from these drivers. They will be just flat out through here. So Hatton coming through in that McLaren. He's currently was that P5? He went up to P5, and the PlayStation driver with the dominant display here has gone to P5, and with so many drivers on the grid, that is not easy to do. Hold up is also on a lap, and we have not got long left at all. H Fury in the Porsche is currently in P11, and then we've got Hogan in that sort of limey green Porsche currently in P14. But he is nearly 3 tenths up on his lap time. So we'll stay on board with one of the drivers that is nearing an end to the lap. So that is Lechniks in the Bentley, but he is 2 tenths down on his lap time. Can he improve here in Kyalami in the South African Grand Prix? Let's see. So the Bentley driver, he's still 2.5 tenths, and it does not look at all if he's going to find that improvement that he was hoping for. So out of Ingwe at turn 16, down towards the line, and he does not improve, but he will go again. Lechniks is going to go again. Rod is in the pit lane. Hans currently in P17, but he is 1.5 tenths up, and he is just coming around down towards Mineshaft at turn 12 now, down in towards the Crocodiles at turn 13. He goes into the right-hander, slows that Mustang down, but he cannot pull it to a stop, and he pulls over, and that is it. He's not going to improve. And here comes Bernie to the line, goes P2. Bernie on his way up towards Crowthorne at turn 2, and he has put it on the front row. The checkered flag has waved. Barrett in P16 in that McLaren. He is just coming around turn 10 and 11 at Liukop. And the number 27 car down in towards Mineshaft and towards turn 13, the McLaren driver into the right-hander. That was quick, 1.5 tenths up. Not as quick as he'd done it previously though. Through turn 15 at the Cheetah, in towards turn 16. And then back on to the throttle, 2.5, 2 tenths, 1.5, down to the line. Barrett from P16 will stay P16. Hatton also trying his best. Here comes Linton, currently in P8 in that BMW, around the Crocodiles, in towards turn 14 and 15. And this will be it. Oh, and he's bounced it off the curb, and Linton is into the sand gravel, and that was all she wrote. Wow. That was drama at the end there. Here comes Hatton to the line, and he does slightly improve, but it is still P5. And that is all the drivers now to the line. But it is T Vermac in the Ford that is on pole position by over a second. So Bernie in P2 in the Ford, and then Harris, Drovrak, Hatton, Holub, Lejnex, Linton, Donald Evans, Hogan, Furry, Bagetto, Lejnex, McNally, Barrett, Hans, Horton, Ostrogol and Rod. So a lot of the drivers 20 on the grid getting ready for this race. Alright, Kyalami here in South Africa, I think it is. I might be wrong, bear with me. So 4.5 minutes and we go racing. So just bear with us because action is on its way. So we are about to get going very shortly here in MSC. Just over a minute to go. And then it is lights out for a 45-minute race. He is in that Mustang. He is going to be starting on that front spot as all the other drivers just follow him around. He's the man setting the pace. He is the man to beat. So Vermac just coming around the S's at turn 8 and 9. And we ride on board with him. And you can see what it's like from the driver's cockpit. What it will look like to them. How it is all ingrained in them. So we're just coming around turn 10 and 11. And just bear with us, guys, very, very closely. As we are about to see lights out. And you are about to see some fantastic racing here in MSC. And that is what it is all about. So Vermac, you can see all of them lights behind, just waiting to have a crack at him. We know how good Vermac is. He will be extremely hard to catch. If he gets the start that he's hoping for around turn 13 and 14 we go. Bernie just giving him something to think about already on this formation lap. And look at them as they just illuminate the surface of the track in front of them as they go down in towards Ingwe at turn 16. Here we go. This is it. We go racing very shortly here in Kyalami. And it is lights out and away we go. Vermac got an incredible start, but so did Bernie. Here he comes down in towards turn 1 and 2 at Crowthorne. The two Mustangs wheel to wheel, but it is Vermac that just stays in front of Bernie. But look at Harris behind. He's got something to think about as some of the drivers start to attack on the back of him. Bernie stays in position, but it is Hatton and Holub going at it in P2 and P3. Hatton in the McLaren just fending off the post, but for how long? Here he comes on the edge, down the inside he goes in towards turn 5, and then out of turn 5 down towards turn 6 at Sunset, in towards Clubhouse we go. Hatton stays in front of Holub, McNally stays, Linton and 4-8 just watching all of this unfold in front. He knows it is going to be an action-packed race for him and the Porsche driver. And we've not seen much movement at the moment. Hogan, Evans, Horton all staying in position. You've got Lejnex, Dovrak, and here we go. What about Harris in that Lamborghini? He's currently in P7, but look at the drivers behind that. Is Oscar going to go in P8? And he was wheel to wheel with the driver. And that was Evans that was being beaten to the line. Evans in the post will try and come around the outside. Can he do the old switchback? And he does get a better exit, and the Porsche driver of Evans still looking for a way through on that McLaren, on the Ferrari. And the Ferrari doing a cracking job of staying in front momentarily. Lejnex in P16, Dovrak in P5, Harris in P7, and Borghetto in P15, and you see Lejnex and Barrett just in front of Borghetto, and they are going at it once again, and it is Barrett in P13, Lejnex going up the inside, and it is the Bentley and the McLaren go wheel to wheel. Lejnex comes out and nose ahead, and around he goes. Lejnex is onto the gravel. We have a collision here in Kyalami. And already drama unfolds in MSC. So Donald in P20. So Vermac still leading, 1.7 in front of the rest of the pack, and Bernie just staying within touching distance. He's got a nice little gap to Hatton in P3 though, and then you've got Dovrak and Furre all chasing him down. Barrett in P16, then you've got Hatton there looking at it in the podium places. He's got Holub behind him within a second of him. McNally, B19, you've got Linton, hold up, you can see now some of the drivers just touch the sand on the way in there and just throw the dust up into the face of the Porsche driver. Evans, Horton, Ostrigel, Leschnex, Dovrak, Harris. And the drivers are starting to get into a bit of a rhythm now. Donald in P20. And what about Rod looking for a way up the inside of Evans? Just taps him on the backside, makes him well aware that he is there, right on the rear. And he gets back onto the throttle, and he just wiggles as if to say, yep, very sorry about that, but I am going to come again very shortly. And the Mustang driver currently in P10, chasing down that Porsche. He goes later on the brakes again, moves out to the right-hand side. Is he going to switch it back up to the left, gets a better exit, and now it's giving the Porsche driver something to think about. Evans starting to use that racing IQ to fend off the attack of the Ford driver of Rod behind. And then Hans Vermac still your race leader, Bernie in P2. You've got McNally, Hatton, Linton. Then you've got Holub with Harris and Ostrigol behind him. Hogan, Evans, Horton. And look at Horton now. He's got Barrett and Linton all over that rear wing. And this is not going to be an easy fight for Horton, Barrett and Linton. So you can see riding on board with Barrett, it is really hard for him, especially with not a single star in the sky illuminating this surface of the track. And that is Linton that goes later on the brakes, the BMW driver. And he's looking for a way through on the McLaren, who chases down that Porsche. Then you've got McNally joining the action, the Lamborghini driver. He doesn't want to be left alone. He wants to stay involved in this little tussle that they've got going on. And that was Linton just going off the track there. Barrett and Horton and McNally. This is a four-way. This is turning into a very tasty four-way battle. That is Barrett going up the inside of Linton. And it is the McLaren on the BMW. Then look at McNally bringing himself into this. That is what we like to see. And the other drivers. That is Holub in P6. For 8. Hogan, Evans. Look at Evans with Rod on the back of him. Another Mustang driver. And a Mustang shall he get through. But not on this occasion. And that Mustang will have to wait. Or must have wait. So Evans, Rod, Hogan. And that is the Porsche driver, and there goes the Mustang down the inside. He goes a little bit deep. He opens up the door for Evans. Wheel to wheel for Evans and Rod. Here we go. This is the action we've been waiting for. Under the illuminated lights on this South African circuit, Rod and Evans, not a single inch between them, nothing to separate them. They smash on them brake lights as they go in towards turn 13 at the Crocodiles. And Rod in the Mustang just barges his way through on Evans and up to P10. That was spectacular from Rod in that Ford Mustang. Evans just looks in awe of that move from ahead, and that was phenomenal stuff. So Rod and Evans, P9 and P10. Here comes Horton, Barrett, McNally. We have an action-packed evening, 37.5 minutes still remaining of this race. Leschnex looking for a way through on Hans. And we ride on board with this Ferrari driver, all draped in white under the night, chasing that reddish blue of Hans in front. So around turn 6 at Sunset, down in towards 7 at Clubhouse, it is Hans and the two Legeneks in the Ferrari and the Bentley in P14 and 15. Dovrak in P4, doing a splendid job at staying in position. He's not had to work particularly hard to gain this position at the moment. And then Hans and Legeneks both behind. You can see him in the rear view mirror. That's not what he wants to see, but he's got no alternative at this point in the race. He is improving on his lap times. So Hans just in front of Legeneks. And what about Hatton? He's currently in P3. Remember, he holds that podium position. And Dovrak in the Ferrari behind him will absolutely be looking for a way through. So bear with me, guys. So Hatton is currently in P3. Oh, look at this, Holub and Harris, and it looks like it might go to a round 2. And Holub, we ride on board, and look at Harris behind. And the Porsche, the Ferrari, look at this, O'Driscoll looking for a way through on Fury. And it is the Porsche and the McLaren, sorry, the Ferrari. The Ferrari's going to go to the inside, and the Ferrari does go for a move. Has he got it done this time around? He has. He's got his nose ahead, but look at the Porsche comes up the inside. The Ferrari hangs it around the outside. Oh, Driscoll, take a bow. What an overtake that is. The Ferrari is ahead. A dominant display of force here in MSC. Oh, Driscoll is up to P6. In that Ferrari. And now the chase is on for Hatton and Dovrak in front. Holub will have to hold off Harris and Rod on the chase. So O'Driscoll P5. And you can see the drivers in front. That was a slight mistake from Hatton. The gap is only 1.2. And as we ride on board with O'Driscoll, he rides the curb. around that final chicane at Ingwe at turn 16, down the huge straight past the checkered flag at 1:43.0. He was way quicker than Hatton in front, and you can see the gap just dwindling away down in towards turn 2 at Crowthorne, through Junskay's sweep at turn 3 and 4, and he's made a mistake, and O'Driscoll might have opened up the door for Ferrari behind. Ferrari will go for the move, wheel to wheel go the Porsche and the Ferrari, and it is Ferrari that touches the Ferrari, and the Porsche is now just ahead. He pops his nose in front, but for how long? Side by side goes these two beautiful competitors, and O'Driscoll, after that huge mistake, just holds on. But now here comes Harris. Harris is going to make his move. The other Ferrari driver has waited for an opening. Is this the time that it arrives? Ferrari in the Porsche just fends him off and says, not this time. I am not losing the second position just yet. And O'Driscoll can see all of this unfolding in his rear view mirror. So Rod and Holub. Rod is currently in at P8. He's driving that Ford Mustang. He's chasing down Harris. He's right involved in this pack. 30 minutes of racing still remaining. It is Rod in P8, Holub in P9, and then you've got a little bit of a gap, a little bit of breathing space for these competitors to Evans in P10. But O'Driscoll is starting to get his foot down. 1.2 is the gap, and it is all starting to take place here in Kyalami for the South African Grand Prix. That is what we wanted to see. Absolutely insane racing from these drivers. So we got Hans Legnex on his tail. These drivers, they know what they need to do, but Legnex in that Ferrari, only 0.3 of a second off Hans. In that Ford Mustang, he's gone for the dive. He's gone for a cheeky little move, and Legnex, he wanted the screen time, and he absolutely got it. Legnex is through 2 of 2 for the family members. Hans dropping down to P15, but he will tailgate at least one of the Legnex. Vermac 7 seconds clear at the front of this race. Bernie in P2, Hatton in P4, and you've got McNally, you've got Hogan and Holub. Hogan doing a good job. He's inside that top 10. That's where he wants to be. Just staying competitive at the moment. And Holub is onto the gravel. He's made a massive mistake there as we've rolled on board with him. And now Borghetto knows that Holub is starting to struggle into the slipstream of that Porsche driver. 4 attempts to drive through for Legnex. Track limits. 3 laps remaining to serve that drive through. Borghetto has found a little opening in the armour, and there he goes up the inside as Holub runs wide again. They are going to go side by side, the Porsche and the Ferrari. Borghetto is still eager. He's not going to wait around, and through goes Borghetto. Can Holub get his foot down to maybe just claw this position back as they drive side by side into the night? But it is Holub that returns the favour back into P11. And the Porsche driver says you'll have to try harder than that if you want a chance at this driver. And he is in at P11, Borghetto in P12. So remember, you've got that drive-through time penalty. Rod, Harris and 4-8. Borghetto just behind Holub. He had that one opportunity to seize everything he ever wanted, but he didn't capture it. He let it slip, and Borghetto stays in P12. Dovrak into the podiums. And that is Hans in to P4. Some of the drivers, I think, starting to go into the pit lane. That's Hans into the pits. And this racing through the night is what a lot of the drivers really do love about Assetto Corsa. Oh, and he runs a little bit wide there, O'Driscoll. So O'Driscoll on the back of Hatton. And look at this now, Hatton and O'Driscoll. And that McLaren nearly found a way through. And I think O'Driscoll is starting to see the other end of the scale here, because all he's done in this race is attack drivers in front, and now he's starting to have to defend the position, what he's probably not used to. But it's good to see that other competitiveness of O'Driscoll coming through at this stage in the race. So Harris and Borghetto into the pit lane. Donald in P14. We got Hans and Leschnex behind. Vermac 10.3 clear. Absolutely unstoppable. He's got the fastest lap of the race, and rightly so, because he leads by an absolute mile at this stage in the race. And Bernie in P2, and these two they just seem so far clear of the rest of the pack on this circuit anyway. So O'Driscoll and Hatton is the only real competitive battle going on the track at the moment, and you got Dovrak in front as well in P3. He's going to be dragged into this soon, whether he likes it or not. So as you can see, Borghetto just dropping back through the pack after that pit stop. And look at this now, only 0.3 of a second is O'Driscoll off Dovrak. You got Hatton in the distance, Rod just coming over the hill. And the two Ferrari drivers will be going toe to toe anytime soon. O'Driscoll looking for the space up the inside, it wasn't there, and Dovrak just holds on. But how long is that going to continue for? Look at Hatton. Every single time O'Driscoll gets caught behind Dovrak, Hatton gets closer and closer, and if he's not careful, he'll go from overtaking to conceding a position. 24 minutes of this race to go. Here goes O'Driscoll again. He's going to go for the move up the inside, but then he compromises his racing line and he lets Hatton into this race. And that's what he's got to seriously think about here. Does he go for the move? He's made a slight mistake, and that is exactly what I was talking about. And here comes Hatton. The McLaren driver will make a move on the Ferrari. This is the moment he was waiting for. O'Driscoll goes later on the brakes, back onto the throttle, and the Ferrari stays in front of the McLaren. But that is exactly what we are talking about here in Kyalami. And Hatton was waiting for O'Driscoll to try and make an attack on Dovrak in front. He went for it and he compromised his racing line, exactly what he's continuing to do here as Hatton attacks. And now O'Driscoll has gone defensive, completely defensive here. He's dropped nearly a second off Dovrak in front. More drivers into the pit lane. And O'Driscoll is seeing both ends of the barrel. So Dovrak in P3 in the last remaining podium position at the moment. So look at O'Driscoll again. He's pulled a little gap out to Hatton behind. So look at how close O'Driscoll is to Dovrak again. He moves right, he moves left, and up the inside. And Dovrak, as much as he wanted to hold on to that, he wasn't able to do so, but he is able to get onto the throttle a little bit quicker than O'Driscoll. And down in towards turn 2 at Crowthorne, there's literally an inch between the pair of them. O'Driscoll and Dovrak come together, a little bit of a shove. Dovrak is off the track, O'Driscoll is through, but now Dovrak is going to have the inside line, but he's not able to get back in front. The Ferrari driver jumps over the curb, gives us a little bunny hop and off the circuit, but he does stay in P3. And Rod is through on Hatton. While all of that unfolded, Rod with a spectacular move to move into P5 and demotes Hatton into P6, but it's O'Driscoll into the podiums as it stands at the moment. So what about Rod? What a move that was for the other Mustang driver. So Dovrak, O'Driscoll, Rod and Hatton. It's the real battle that's going on at the moment. And Dovrak with that Red Bull livery on that Ferrari. Here comes Rod on the back of Dovrak. Hatton having a first class seat to the racing in front. Oh, and he's collided with him. Rod has put Dovrak onto the grass, and he has been demoted to P6. Hatton is through and up to P5. A little shove there, and Rod, remember, into P4, but they are 2 seconds off O'Driscoll now. So it has compromised their race a little bit. And that is Harris just moving out of the way. So Han has sort of moved into no man's land. He's in P5, he's got a 1.5 second gap in front, he's got a 2 second gap behind. So he's in a pretty comfortable position, is what I would say, at this moment. Hogan, on the other hand, he's got Holub behind him by about half a second. And you can see him just on his way out of Ingwe at turn 16, down the pit straight and through that checkered flag. And on that last lap, he was 2.2 quicker than Fure in front in that Porsche. We've got a line of Porsches from 7, 8, 9 and 10. What about Evans? He's in P7. Doing what he needs to do at the moment, Evans, with 16.5 minutes remaining of this race. And the drivers keeping it relatively smooth here. O'Driscoll still in the podiums, 1.8 clear of Rod in that Mustang. And then you got Lesnex with McNally, but McNally is into the pit lane, so Lesnex just racing on his own at the moment. What about Dovrak on the back of Harris? I'm unsure what's happened here to Dovrak down into P6. So Dovrak gets a good exit out of Ingwe, but you can see the pace of the drivers, and there's not much catching up he can do down that straight. He's going to have to do it in the corners, and this is what I'm talking about. The drivers, they've got to be capable of racing. The IQ's got to be there. The talent has got to be there for these drivers. They need that racing talent. So Dovrak through on McNally. Harris absolutely not conceding position, even though he is theoretically at the back. Look at that, and you can see Dovrak just flashing him, saying, right, move out of the way, you're really starting to get on my nerves. And he was absolutely flashing that driver like you would in motorway traffic if somebody was hogging the third lane. But Harris is saying, nah, I'm hogging the third lane, you can stay where you are. And Dovrak once again starts to flash him, move over to the slow lane, Harris, I'm coming through. And Harris does not oblige at all, completely refuses to give up that position, and Dovrak will start to become visibly frustrated and irritated at the lack of decency from Harris here to move over. So Lesnex, Donald, Rod, Vermac still in the lead with this night race around Kyalami. Bernie still in P2, 17 seconds behind. Hatton, McNally, Linton, Holub, Furry right involved, and that was a little snap from Evans that might have opened up the door as we came out of Ingwe at turn 16 into the slipstream. Goes Furry on Evans down towards Crowthorne at turn 2. Is he going to be close enough? Is he going to go for that late lunge? He doesn't. He pulls out, but he does go out wide so he can dive in, make a better entrance to the corner, and Holub got very close behind to that rear wing of Furry. Evans still holding on, and he is at the moment currently in P7, but he could be demoted into P8 very shortly. But here comes Holub, and Furry will have to go from attack to defence very quickly indeed, and he's going to have to adapt here because Holub is all over him like a rash. 12, well, just under 13 minutes of racing remaining. Furry pulls over, and Holub is through. Holub's been given the position to go and attack, and he does it very quickly. Says, yep, no problem, I'll take that position. I do apologise, guys, if my commentary is not great. I do apologise. I have a long day in work. Right, so I'm trying to stay, right up there, but I'm struggling. Right, so here we go. Here in Kyalami for round 9 for MSC. And the gaps are starting to be visible throughout the grid. And Holub and Evans are the real tussle going on track at the moment. So Evans in P7, Holub in P8, 4-8 in at P9, all separated by about a second. With 10.5 minutes to go here in round 9. Vernac still leads, Holub looks for a way through. And everybody else on the grid very much in their own race. Vermac especially has been nothing but flawless, exceptional and spectacular, all rolled into one. 20 seconds clear of his nearest competitor. It's nothing short of flawless as you will get. And what is this? We do have McNally involved. And here we go, Holub once again on Evans. Oh, and that was Evans that went deep. And here comes Holub up the inside. And the two Porsche drivers, and you see how quickly he just moves into the slipstream, but he has to let go of the throttle. And he tried to just pick up a little bit of pace, and look at the different lines that the cars are taking now, because one is attacking, one is defending. They take two completely different lines down in towards turn 14 and 15, but it is Evans that stays in front in P7. But how long can he do this for? Well, he's got to do it for at least 8.5 minutes. So 3/10 is the gap. And do not forget about 4-8 behind. I think it's 4-8. Yeah, 4-8 in the Porsche behind. The three Porsche drivers, Evans, Holub and 4-8. And that is a yellow flag, just briefly. So, and look at Holub. And they're starting to catch up to McNally, but he is a back marker at the moment. And look at that, Holub just hanging on to that car. 4-8, 1.1 behind. He's started to drop off a little bit as Evans and Holub start to take off. And what will McNally do? Will he move over and concede position. Holub has lost a little bit of time to Evans, and then he brings it back up. And look at Evans, he's going to move through on McNally. Up the inside goes Evans. And here comes Holub as well, and he does tangle. And he does tangle, and I think Holub did lose a little bit of time as we try and get on board with him. And he did. He lost a lot of time. Holub is down to P10. Forey still in P7, but Evans is clear now. And that collision with McNally has cost Holub quite a few considerable positions. Oh, he will be kicking himself there. Getting involved in a tussle with a back marker, not what you want. And now Forey can just see Evans. Is this time where he starts to get his foot down a little bit and pick up that extra position? But no, he's not bridging that gap at the moment. You've got Hogan and Dovrak and Holub, who has been sprung into this fight that he shouldn't have been in. And you got them beautiful neon lights on the top of Hogan's Porsche. We continue to race into the night. And as the night progresses, the drivers continue to race. So Dovrak, Forey on the back of Evans, Dovrak on the back of Hogan. Hogan currently in PA, but look at Dovrak all over the back of him now. And that is Dovrak and Holub. Evans still in P6. All the other drivers in front have got a lot of gaps between them. There's not much going on, but these drivers give us the action that we wanted, the entertainment that we needed, and MSC never fails to disappoint. O'Driscoll with a rod on his tail. Remember, this is for a podium. O'Driscoll done a phenomenal job getting into P3. Evans for it. And you can see the back marker of McNally, who got into that tussle with Holub. And that is Hogan this round. Hogan is into the wall. And he tumbles down, and into the pit lane goes Hogan. Evans still in front of Forey. You've got O'Driscoll 1.1 clear of Rod. And we ride on board with the two Porsches down in towards Sunset at turn 6. Over the apex in towards turn 7 at Clubhouse. Evans staying in front of Forey. You see McNally in the distance. O'Driscoll in front of Rod. Hogan into the pit lane. Vermaak and Bernie. Wow, they have been unstoppable this evening. So, Fury to Evans. Half a second is the gap. 1 minute 40 to go in this race. So around turn 16 at Ingway. It is Evans in P6, 4-8 in P7. Holub, who had that collision with McNally, the back marker. O'Driscoll 1.3 clear of Rod. He's put his foot down, he's took it to a new dimension. He's geared it up a little bit, and O'Driscoll is going to secure that podium. So, Donald, Hogan. What about Linton and Donald?
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it
The leader on to the final lap. A stunning race from these drivers. And look at this, you can see Donald just behind Linton. And these are 4 minor positions and places added with a sprinkle of points. Evans with Forey. Is Forey going to be able to challenge just one more chance before the line? Down in towards turn 16 at Ingway. And Evans is going to come up towards the line. Forey chases him, but it's just not going to be enough. I think they are actually on to the final lap. They are. O'Driscoll is going to get the podium. What a performance. Look at Donald and Linton for P10 and P11. Donald got extremely close there. But look at this from Vermaak. He is way clear of Bernie in P2. It has been a quite remarkable performance from the Mustang driver of Vermaak. He's going to come around turn 16 at Ingway. And the Ford Mustang will come through here in Kyalami and win the MSC Grand Prix here in round 9. Vermaak is dominant here in South Africa. He takes P1. It is Bernie that will take P2. We still have a race on our hands though. Evans and Forey are going at it around turn 10 and 11 down towards Mineshaft at turn 12. Evans is still in P6. O'Driscoll is going to come through for a podium. O'Driscoll in that Ferrari takes P3. Dovrak, Holo, Buggetto. Donald is still going at it with Linton. Leshnex, Rod in P4, and he's into the wall, but he's already through. And that is a secured position. Hatton will come to the line. He'll take P5. What a performance. Forey will not make the move on Evans. And Evans takes P6. Forey in P7. P8 goes to Dovrak in that Ferrari. P9 is Holub to the checkered flag. Linton is coming down in towards Ingway at turn 16. Around the left-hander, and Linton will complete a top 10 finish. So there you have it, your final standings. Vermaak will take the race victory It is Bernie and it takes P2. O'Driscoll will finish on the podium in P3. Rod in P4. Hatton in P5. Evans will take P6. Forey in P7. Dovrak in P8. Holub in P9. And Linton in your top 10. Then comes Donald in P11. And the two Lejneks in P12 and 13. McNally in 14. Borghetto in 15. Hogan in P16. Harris in P17. Hans in P18. Horton in P19 and Barrett in P20. What a race, what a Grand Prix here in Kyalami. And that was a proper race. We had some great battles on track. And hopefully we can see some of them races once more further on in the season when we go to the season finale in just a couple of weeks. Make sure you're there. It is a bit of a longer race as well. But yeah, that was it here for MSC. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching. Remember, you can join through the Discord link on screen right now, or press !Discord in the Twitch chat to bring up the link. You can join through SimGrid as well, and join these guys on track for next season, so make sure you do that. But yeah, have a good rest of the weekend, everybody. Thank you to MSC, and well done to all of the drivers, including Vermac, Bernie and O'Driscoll. Take care, everybody, and I will see you on the next one.